So hey guys, I'm back. And if I'm back making haunt videos on YouTube, that only means one thing. Haunt season is finally here. So yes, I have been patiently awaiting this moment, the moment when haunt season was upon us and announcements were flowing. Boy, did the announcements flow the past few weeks. I was not prepared. As you may know, I went away in June to go finally have a wedding ceremony with my husband. We've been married for a year now, but we finally got to have our little wedding elopement. As soon as I left town, of course, Horror Nights finally started announcing things, and that means we have a lot to discuss today. And not only Halloween Horror Nights, but in this video I'm also going to discuss HallowScream Orlando. What? And HallowScream Tampa, because come this fall I'm going to be covering all the haunts, not just Halloween Horror Nights, but I plan to attend HallowScream in both Orlando and Tampa, and probably some local haunts mixed in there too. It's gonna be 2 very busy months for me, but it's my favorite time of year and I plan to share all of it on my channel, so make sure to subscribe if you aren't already. If you love haunts, this is gonna be the place to be come September and October. It's just gonna be haunts all the time. I'm so excited for it. As long as frequent fear passes exist, I'll be at Horror Nights as much as I can, so stay tuned. Lots of fun stuff coming this fall. So let's start with Halloween Horror Nights, because I think that's why most of you watch my videos. In my previous video we discussed the fact that Beetlejuice was announced, and we also already know that Puppet Theater is the house of the event, even though they haven't fully announced it for 2021. We know from an announcement last year that Puppet Theater is going to be a house. So at the time of my last video, we'd had 2 houses announced and we were waiting for a long time to hear any more news. And then finally in June, we found out that Jack is back. So Jack is of course the most well-known and probably most loved Halloween Horror Nights icon of all time. He was the first, the original, just so happens to be the icon that was at my first event in 2001, so I do have a soft spot for Jack. There's a lot of history to the lore of Jack. Frankly, he needs his own video, so I'm not going to go into that in this one. Perhaps a Jack history video coming soon. He's been around for a very long time, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to share a little bit of my thoughts. I think personally it's a little too soon to have a Jack-centric year, considering we just had 2015, which was loved by fans, myself included. I think 2015, which I have the poster for right up here, captured Jack's energy, his essence. The stage show was amazing, the merch was amazing, just everything about that year was fantastic as an anniversary year. And with this being the follow-up to that anniversary year, I think it was too soon to bring him back, because I think it's only going to lead to disappointment. Now, I love Jack. I am ecstatic that he's there. There's rumors that he might have a stage show coming up. If that's true, I can't wait. I'll be there. I can't wait to see it. I just think it was maybe a little too soon, and this year could have had a storyteller focus to mirror 2005, or let the Terror Queen reign as she was supposed to, since it's her 15-year anniversary. But that's another story. If you watch this vlog, you'll learn why I think that should have been the case. But I digress. Jack is back, and we were told that he's going to be everywhere and where you least expect it. So I do think there might be a stage show. There might be a roaming scare zone. He might appear in some houses. At the very least, I think he'll appear in the rumored Icons house that circulated last year that I'm pretty sure is coming. I think we'll see Jack quite a bit. I'm sure there's gonna be more merch other than the shirt that they already sold. I hope there is, because I was kind of on that shirt. It's gonna be good. I just think we could have given another icon some more love, or created a whole nother icon. Just saying. I know it's an anniversary year though, so there's other icons out there that could have used some spotlight again. Moving on, we're gonna go to the house announcements, and we've had a few now. So the first one was Haunting of Hill House, which was rumored for the past year and a half now. So Haunting of Hill House is a Netflix show. I have still not seen it. I know it's on my Halloween Horror Nights homework, so I'm gonna reserve comment until I watch it. However, some rumblings of people thinking it's not a scary show, it's not gonna work as a haunted house. I don't know yet, I haven't seen it. However, the pictures that were brought out from inside the house, they look like they're gorgeous. If Halloween Horror Nights knows how to do one thing, it's a spooky ghost house. So I am very optimistic that they can make this scary no matter what. These sets are gorgeous. It's definitely my aesthetic and I can't wait to see it in person. And I'm gonna watch the show and we'll talk about it the next time there's an announcement video. Then this past Thursday, we had a double house announcement of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. So it seems like Thursday is going to be our announcement day. So since this is going up on Wednesday, maybe tomorrow there'll be another announcement and this is going to be a regular pattern we're in. This week we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Again, this is pretty low on my expectation list. We already had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the 2007 event and in 2016. In 2007 it was in the disaster queue and 2016 it was in one of the tents. Now this year, if the speculation map and everything is true, it will be in a soundstage. So that's different. We haven't seen it take up the nice soundstage property. However, that's prime real estate, those soundstage houses. And I just wish that that prime real estate would have been given to something that requires more detail than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe I'm completely in the wrong about that, but it's one of my least favorite intellectual properties that Universal uses. I just don't like the slasher 70s chainsaw vibes. Not my deal. I know some people are terrified of chainsaws, so it works for you guys. It's just not my jam. That said, I know for reasons that I will be there every single night because I have people to visit in that house. So have no fear, I will be visiting. I just, not my cup of tea. On the flip side, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. Now that is my cup of tea and I'm so glad it's back for a second year. If you attended Halloween Horror Nights Light, then you already saw this house. For people like myself who did not go to the event because of the pandemic, we did not get to see it. So I'm very excited to get to see this. It's technically an IP, but it also feels like an original because it is A&D's own brainchild of The Bride of Frankenstein and her own story. If you saw the promo video, how cool was that video? Gorgeous. So this shirt went on sale. I know people were a little up in arms because the bride is like tiny on it. I just love the print. I think she'll get more merch because I think everyone loved that character and that concept of the house. So I think there'll be more merch for her. I needed this shirt. I just love the design of it. If you already saw the house last year, I do think it will only be improved because I have a strong feeling that the plexiglass will be removed. Most theme parks are removing any plexiglass that they installed. So I think we'll see the house without plexi. Same goes for Tooth Fairy whenever they announce that coming back. I suspect no plexiglass, which will only improve the experience from last year. And while there are YouTube walkthroughs of both Tooth Fairy and Bride out there, Bride of Frankenstein Lives was so dark, and yes, I did watch one, but it was so dark I have no idea what was happening in that house. So I can't wait to see it in person and actually get to experience it. I love the classic monsters, so I'm very curious to see what it's like in person and can't wait to see it for myself. So that's all the official news from Halloween Horror Nights so far. However, there's a few other rumors circulating that we should talk about. First of all, there was a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it a leak, because you can see it from guest areas. But the facade for Tent 3 happens to be visible from guest areas. Usually they tend to announce the house before they start construction on the facades back there because otherwise it spoils it. However, they did not do that this year. So we got a nice little spoiler of the house that's going into Tent 3, which is no surprise because that's what's been on the rumor maps for a while now. But it is a Cary, Ohio house, or Scary, Ohio. I'm not gonna share the picture because again, it's not been officially announced. And while the picture was taken from a spot that's within guest areas, it wasn't a backstage picture, I'm not gonna share it. I retweeted a tweet, so if you wanna go see it, you can go on my Twitter, but I'm not gonna put it in the video. I have a feeling that might be the house that gets announced this week because they might as well announce it at this point. Last year, I did a video on Cary, Ohio, so if you wanna know the history of Cary, Ohio at Halloween Horror Nights, highly recommend checking out that video. But that's more or less confirmed that we are getting a Cary, Ohio anniversary house, so very much looking forward to see which properties they pick and choose to include. Also, because that wasn't enough this past week, Horror Night Nightmares updated their rumor map once again, and this time there was a new house added. We knew that the Billie Eilish house was no more. Billie Eilish did not renew her contract for 2021, but we've been waiting for a while to find out what was going to replace the Billie Eilish house, and based on this map from Horror Night Nightmares, it looks like we're getting a Legendary Truth House. Now this isn't an entire shock because we did have a rumor of a Legendary Truth House circulating in 2020. In fact, I made another history video about Legendary Truth last year. So yeah, you just got a lot of history lessons to learn for this event between the Terror Queen and Legendary Truth and Cary, Ohio. If you're new to the event, just take an afternoon and watch through this playlist and just learn everything you need to know for HHN30. Sounds like we're getting a Legendary Truth House. I've heard some additional rumors about this house. I don't want to share it though because I'm so excited about it that I don't want to spoil it. So for now, all I will say is make sure to go watch my Legendary Truth video and we will discuss that more once other news starts coming out because I don't want to be the one to spoil it. Thrilled at the concept of it. I want to help A&D keep that a secret a little longer if I can. Fingers crossed guys, because this one, if it's true, is definitely for us and I'm thrilled. That's all I'll say. Keeping you in suspense. Now that rumor map does include scare zones. I'm not going to go too deep into that yet. I will say that as far as the scare zones, I've heard a couple different things than what Horror Night Nightmares has on their map. Really not sure what's accurate or inaccurate yet. Scare zones are an interesting mix of anniversary and not anniversary this year, and there's definitely some very exciting things happening in those scare zones that I can't wait to see. We'll talk more about scare zones in the future. So that's what we have for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando so far. Let's switch gears and talk about HallowScream. So earlier this summer we got the announcement that HallowScream is having their inaugural event at SeaWorld Orlando this fall. For a long time I was a Halloween Horror Nights elitist, said that I would never go to HallowScream because it couldn't possibly match Halloween Horror Nights, and then I finally went and I fell in love with it. Is it Halloween Horror Nights? No, but they both have their merit. They both have things that they are fantastic at. It's two very different events. Obviously, Halloween Horror Nights has the humongous budget. They can bring in these gigantic IPs. They have movie quality sets. It's a different beast. But HallowScream, it's like a little hometown haunt. They have a very small budget, but the actors are actually actors the majority of the time. They have to actually audition to scare you. And I'm not knocking the Halloween Horror Nights actors. You guys know I love my scare actors. There's just something different about those HallowScream actors at times. They're just passionate about being scare actors. Because they're given more freedom, there's a lot more interaction. They typically say their own lines. It's not like Halloween Horror Nights where it's a trigger that says their line for them and they're mouthing it or not saying anything at all. HallowScream, the actors talk to you, they follow you. There's just a lot more interaction to it. I love both events. I love them for what they are, and I think my haunt season isn't complete without attending both. Now I have HallowScream Orlando to add to the mix. If you've been following for a few years, then you know that I went to HallowScream San Antonio when we lived in Texas, and I loved that event too. So I can't wait to try HallowScream Orlando and give it a shot. So far, HallowScream Orlando has announced 3 experiences. They announced their first house, which is Dead Vines. Something is stirring among the trees. A shiver runs down your spine as you creep forward, one timid step at a time. Is this jungle alive or undead? There's an ominous force at work here, a merciless mistress of ivy and evil. She's poisoned these woods with an all-consuming appetite for visitors like you. Keep moving and find a way out before it's too late. You don't want to end up dead on the vine. I love it. Is it a little bit like Seeds of Extinction? Probably. Did I love Seeds of Extinction? Yes. Can't wait to see what they do with it. I'm glad that they announced an original house to begin with. If you're familiar with HallowScream, you know they kind of share houses among properties, so we're very likely going to end up with a former HallowScream Tampa house at HallowScream Orlando. We need to see as the announcements come along if we get a recycled house, but I'm glad that they started with an original. We also know of the first scare zone, which is Witchcraft Bayou. The cult is growing and the lure is powerful. It's hazardous to pass through this backwater bayou, but there's no way around. Voodoo and witchcraft aren't real, right? Tell that to the zealous worshippers trying to shackle you with their spells. They won't rest until your soul belongs to her too. Stay alert or the dark magic will drag you down. We also found out our first themed bar, which is the Poison Grotto. What's your poison? Unwind with a refreshing concoction and explore the enticing atmosphere of this unearthly lounge. It's a fleeting escape from the deadly vines and savage servants nearby. Just be sure to keep your eyes open and pay proper respect to the one who invited you in. You're her guest here and she's always watching. So I love the theme bars. SeaWorld San Antonio did the same thing. I'll link my video. I might be out of links up here. I'll put it down below. I think I am. I think I've linked too many videos in this video. When we went to SeaWorld San Antonio, they had theme bars and they were fantastic. They were outdoors. You came up, each one had a different theme and different signature drinks, and they had characters milling around that were part of that bar, and the bartenders were all in character. It was just a lot of fun. They had a steampunk one and a vampire one. We were big fans. So I'm excited to see how Orlando tackles this. And yes, I have my Beyonce fan going. It's summer in Florida, it's hot. Excuse this one piece of hair that just thinks it's gonna go off floating in the wind. So that's all we have for HallowScream Orlando so far. I have already purchased my ticket, so I'm going for at least one night. I'm very excited to try it out and see what it's like, and I will definitely take you guys along for it this October. So HallowScream Tampa couldn't be left out. They did their first announcement this past week as well. Of course, we assume there will be houses returning from previous years because this is HallowScream and that's how it operates. So we don't know which ones will return yet. But for the first house announcement, we of course have an original, and it is The Forgotten. Victims will be drawn into a hidden world beyond the rubble and rocks of an unsuspecting quarry where dark secrets lurk in the shadows. Just beyond a hidden gutter entrance, legend of the human uprising is revealed as a swarm of starving vampires plot their imminent revenge. Will those who enter return to the world of the living, or are they destined to become the newest minion of the Forgotten Army? And if you saw the preview, there's a creepy vampire with some neon bat wings. It looks fun. So for HallowScream Tampa, because we live about 20 minutes from Tampa, I am planning to buy the unlimited pass. I don't know how many nights I'll end up going, but it's $80 to get the unlimited pass right now. The price will go up, but right now it's still on sale. So for $80, I can go whenever I want and go for a little bit of time, go ride some roller coasters at night. It sounds like a great deal to me. So I'm getting the unlimited pass for HallowScream Tampa and definitely plan to be there vlogging many nights. It's nice to be local again. Whew, that was a lot of news for one video, but that's what happens when I go on vacation for June. Everyone starts announcing things. So this video is kicking off the news season for me. I plan to be here probably every Wednesday from now until the event, talking about whatever news we get, unless it goes real quiet around here. So expect to meet with me every Wednesday to talk about some Halloween Horror Nights, some HallowScream, any other local haunts that decide to announce anything exciting in the meantime, and let's get ready for haunt season. So with that, stay safe, stay spoopy, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.